As you all know, the President of the Russian Federation, His Excellency Mr. Vladimir Putin, is currently on a state visit to India for the 23rd annual summit between India and Russia. He is accompanied by a high-powered delegation comprising several senior ministers and officials of the Russian Federation, and also a very large business delegation. You would also be aware that this year we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Declaration on Strategic Partnership between India and Russia, which was established coincidentally during the first state visit of President Vladimir Putin to India in October of the year 2000. And in 2010, 15 years ago, the relationship was elevated to the status of a special and privileged strategic partnership. In that sense, this visit on the 25th anniversary of the Declaration of the Strategic Partnership is indeed a very special visit. In a very special gesture, President Putin was received on arrival yesterday evening at the airport by the Honorable Prime Minister himself. The two leaders then rode together to the Prime Minister's official residence, where the Honorable Prime Minister hosted President Putin for an informal dinner, over which there was a frank and candid exchange of views between the two leaders on a wide range of bilateral, regional, and global issues. This morning, President Putin was accorded a ceremonial welcome and guard of honor at the forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan, following which he visited Rajghat, where he paid floral tributes to the father of the nation. Both leaders then convened at Hyderabad House later in the morning to hold wide-ranging discussions in restricted format, followed by a lunch hosted by the Prime Minister. The leaders thereafter jointly took part in the India-Russia Trade Forum held in Bharat Mandapam just a short while ago, with the presence of key stakeholders from the business community, both in India and in Russia. The focus of the forum was on the shared ambition of both leaders to expand the economic dimension of our bilateral partnership by increasing our bilateral trade in a balanced and sustainable manner, including primarily by increasing India's exports to Russia, strengthening industrial cooperation, and forging new investment partnerships. The outcomes of discussions during the business and sectoral discussions that have been ongoing over the last 2 days were presented to the two leaders this afternoon. For details on these, I would refer you to our Ministry of Commerce, which has been coordinating these events. Later on in the evening, today, Honorable Rashtrapati Ji will receive President Putin at Rashtrapati Bhavan and will be hosting a state banquet in his honor. Now, as to the focus and outcomes of the visit, both sides have adopted a joint statement, which you might have had opportunity to see. The joint statement testifies to the India-Russia relationship as a time-tested, progressive partnership that is anchored in trust and mutual respect. It reflects the very special nature of our ties and provides a comprehensive framework for further deepening our multifaceted bilateral partnership. In addition to the joint statement, there were several agreements and MOUs that were concluded and exchanged during the visit, some of them in the presence of the leaders this morning. These include agreements on labor mobility, on maritime cooperation, health, culture, trade, media cooperation, as well as several business to business MOUs. And I think the details of these are available on our website as well. Economic cooperation, I would say, is the driving impulse and the most important focus of this particular visit. As I said just a while ago, expanding bilateral trade and strengthening economic cooperation requires swiftly addressing non-tariff barriers and regulatory impediments, enhancing Indian exports to Russia in sectors such as pharmaceuticals, agriculture, marine products, and textiles is important to correct the trade imbalance, and each one of these sectors
25 लाख का हॉस्पिटल बिल है इतने पैसे कहाँ से आएंगे
पैसों की चिंता आप मत कीजिए पापा
मैम सर का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस क्लेम अप्रूव हो गया है
आप
पॉलिसी बाजार
पॉलिसी बाजार पर 0 जीएसटी के साथ अब 1 करोड़ का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 550 रुपए महीने से शुरू
the mutually shared objective of increasing trade in these areas. Agreements in mobility, as I said, and these are two agreements in particular, the agreement on temporary labor activity in both states and the agreement on cooperation in combating irregular migration. They form a centerpiece of the understandings reached during the ongoing visit. Indian skilled workers, especially in IT, in construction, and in engineering, will help meet Russia's labor needs and deepen our bilateral cooperation. In fact, there is increasing interest among Russian businesses and industries to hire skilled manpower from India to support growing economic activities in Russia. The India-Russia Trade Forum that concluded just a short while ago, which the leaders attended together today, thus becomes a very key element of the visit. You would have followed that. Both the leaders gave a joint call for action to their respective businesses to expand the linkages between them. In this context, I would like to point to another very significant outcome of this particular visit, which is the program of economic cooperation going up to 2030 that has been adopted during this particular summit. And it also serves to give overarching guidance to both sides to expand the scope of the economic dimension of this relationship. The discussions today also focused considerably on the proposed free trade agreement that is under discussion between India and the Eurasian Economic Union, which is again expected to help address the issue of the trade deficit. It was agreed between the two sides that negotiations should be fast-tracked for early conclusion within the stipulated timelines. The terms of reference for this agreement had in fact been finalized and signed during the visit just a few weeks ago of the External Affairs Minister to Moscow. I think it was in August of this year when he had co-chaired the India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic and Cultural Cooperation with Mr. Denis Manturov, the first Deputy Prime Minister of Russia. During the current visit, both sides also underscored the importance of expediting the discussions and the negotiations on the bilateral investment treaty, which again will help energize investments in both directions. In addition to this, connectivity initiatives were also discussed, including the International North-South Transport Corridor, the Eastern Maritime Corridor, the Chennai-Vladivostok route, and also cooperation along the Northern Sea route. These corridors, again, are expected to energize economic linkages, reduce transit times, and expand our trade access across Eurasia and beyond. India-Russia defense and military technical cooperation remains robust. Russia also continues to support India's Make in India initiative in this domain, including through joint production and technology transfer. This is also an area that was discussed between the two leaders. The Prime Minister appreciated President Putin's support in expediting the opening of two new Indian consulates in Kazan and Yekaterinburg. The plaques for the two new consulates were, in fact, again unveiled by the External Affairs Minister during his recent visit to Russia for the SCO Heads of Government meeting. These consulates will further deepen our regional outreach in Russia and enhance trade, academic exchange, other kinds of collaboration, including culture and people-to-people ties. On global and multilateral issues, both leaders reaffirmed their shared commitment to the reform of global governance. We underlined the imperative to reform the UN Security Council to reflect contemporary realities, and our collaboration in forums where both India and Russia are members, such as the G20, BRICS, and SCO, remains forward-looking. Now, President Putin also briefed Prime Minister at considerable length concerning recent developments on the conflict in Ukraine, including on the talks that are currently underway between Russian representatives and US authorities. Prime Minister reiterated India's long-standing position on this conflict, emphasizing India's interest in seeing the earliest possible cessation of hostilities and a sustainable resolution of the conflict through dialogue and diplomacy. And you would have heard the Prime Minister's remarks during the press event earlier today. India stands ready to provide any assistance required in this effort and to play an appropriate role in this effort. The two countries also, or rather the two leaders also discussed the situation in other regional hotspots around the world. On terrorism, the two leaders reiterated their resolve to fight jointly against all forms and manifestations of terrorism, and the Prime Minister reiterated India's zero-tolerance stance on terrorism, and President Putin reiterated Russia's support for India in this effort. So to conclude, I can say that the visit has helped deliver some very substantive outcomes. The rich discussions between the two leaders have helped deepen the trust and mutual respect for each other's core national interests. As I said earlier in my remarks, the overarching focus of this particular summit was to expand and strengthen the economic dimension of our partnership, to advance towards the shared goal of reaching $100 billion in bilateral trade by 2030. The India-Russia relationship also remains an anchor for constructive engagement in an increasingly complex geopolitical environment, and both our sides are committed to continue to do our part in addressing the challenges that the current environment poses for both countries. Let me stop here, and if you have some questions, I know we have a hard stop in a short period of time, but we'll be happy to take a few questions.
So, can we begin with Pranay here?
Foreign Secretary, this is Pranay Upadhyay from India Today Aaj Tak. The joint statement mentions about the interoperability of the payment system and the currency exchange system as well in rupee-ruble trade. So, what is the mechanism agreed between India and Russia to make it, insulated from the Western sanctions? And how many Indian banks are ready to accept ruble as a mode of payment?
Siddhant?
Hi, sir. So my question is, geopolitical message by both Russia and India in terms of economics at a time when their countries engaging in protectionist policies. And my second question is, we have extended the visa facility, the 30-day e-visa facility for tourists, Russian tourists. Have they also extended similar facility for the Indian tourists?
Keshav?
Thank you, sir. Keshav here from the print. My first question is on this irregular migration from the mobility pact. Here, sir. Is there anything in this pact that deals with the status of the Indians in the Russian army, and was that raised between the two leaders at any level? And I just wanted a clarification from the joint statements. It had a line on Iran, and that only through dialogue can the Iran nuclear situation be solved. And we saw that India joined the joint statement of the SCO condemning the strikes earlier in June on Iran. Does this signal a sort of change from the